Hello, my friends. Welcome to your Monday. It's a beautiful day here in Ohio. I hope you are having a great day, no matter where you are in the world today. It is now part 3 of our brand new web series, Brainwashed. Because, my friends, we are, from the moment we're born, we're brainwashed, we're programmed. And it's time to break that programming. Today, we're going even deeper. Now, if you didn't see the first 2 videos, what's wrong with you? Now's the time. The links are below. Take a look. Because you really want to start this from the beginning. You want to make sure you get this right as you're moving forward, okay? These are building blocks, almost, like a staircase. Each step builds on the one before. So it's very, very important to go back, watch those, and then come back and watch this one. Of course, it's streaming live right now. If you have any questions or comments, drop them into the comments there. Make sure you share this. Make sure you comment on it. Let all your friends know about it. That's how our engagement goes up. We certainly appreciate it. This is important work. This is how we change the world. This is a movement. It's a movement of peace. It's a movement of empowerment. It's really, it's a way to live with no anxiety, no stress, little fear, and just a bliss and a joy and an abundance that you've never felt before. An abundance in whatever that means to you. Finances, love, passion, whatever it is. So today, it's part 3, and I like to call this how to get what you really want out of life. Yes, it's a big secret. Most people, that they would kill for that. I'm going to give it to you right now. How to make every day your birthday. Why not? All right, so now we talked last, if you remember, we talked about the ability of just not being right. If you decide to give up being right, everything in your life is going to start to change. If you start to play the game of life differently, there are rules for everything, right? We talked about the videotape that's running inside your head, recording everything that you do, and all the time we spend, going back over that tape and looking at the old crap and, feeling that we would have, could have, should have, right? Well, if you start thinking about your life's purpose. What is it that you want to do? What is it when you were small that you dreamed of doing? Not when you were a little kid and, one day you want to be a pirate and one day you want to be a princess. It's different than that. But what were those goals? What were those dreams you had back in your teenage years and in your 20s? Any discussion of your life's purpose, it has to begin with a discussion of the phenomena that I guess you just call space. Only this time, it's your space. So let's go all the way back to the beginning now, because I want you to remember, I have spent all my life learning about the human mind. That's all I've ever done. It's taken me all around the world. I've worked with the most incredible people. I've been to the most incredible places and done the most incredible things. But we have to go back to science, to the beginning. Let's go back to the time when you were just a single cell. You were formed by the sperm from your father and the egg from your mother. Now look at that. See you when you were back there looking around. The entire thing called you was no bigger than, the head of a pin. 1,000 of you could fit into one dot on a piece of paper. It would take 10 million of you to fill a thimble. Now imagine that you ended up at the bottom of the filled thimble. How easy it would have been to wipe you out back then. No effort at all. As a matter of fact, a simple squeeze could have blown you against a wall with enough force to do you in. But then you wouldn't be here, big as all get out, listening to me today. So what got you here? Did just blind luck? Is that what got you here? Fortune? Fate? No, you got yourself here. The truth is that you expanded your space from that single cell out to the space that you occupy in the world right now. And you do occupy space. Get with the idea of the space you occupy in the world. Look at the fact that when you're in a place in the world, nothing else can be. Everything else moves out of the way. This is scientific fact. No 2 things can occupy the same space at the same time. And in order for you to begin to understand where we're going in life, you must first understand where it is that you've come from. And the fact is that you come from your space. What I want to do at this point is to have you take the time necessary to take a real good, in-depth look at your space. You call that space the body. What I would like you to do now is listen to these instructions. If you need to hear them again, just rewind. If you're watching this live, wait till later. But listen carefully. I want you to choose a place to sit down where it's comfortable for you, where you can close your eyes. Good. Now, I want you to just let your arms hang freely. Relax, not crossed. Same with your legs. But don't lie down. You need to stay conscious, all right? Now, with your eyes closed, get the idea of relaxing your body and taking a look at what's going on in there. Look at the fact that your bones are the superstructure and the skin is what holds it all in. Actually, go down in your feet. Look around what's going on in there. Move up your ankles, your calves, your knees, and move up and up and up. Don't worry about the specific position of organs and that sort of thing. Just look carefully at whatever pictures come up for you. Move up through your diaphragm, into your lungs, and then look at your heart. Go up into your neck and then into your arms one at a time. See what's going on. Up into your head. Take a look behind your eyes. See that videotape that's up there. Look around your brain. Good. Get the idea of relaxing several key tension areas in your head. The first is the muscles between your eyes. Tighten them, then relax them. Just let them go. Good. Now do the jaw muscles. Good. Grit your teeth. Let those muscles go. Relax them. Perfect. Finally, your tongue. Just let it lie on the floor of your mouth. Just relax. If you have pains or aches or you're just tired, look at where those things are happening with you. Locate each of them. How far in are they? How far down? Do you have any thoughts about it? Any judgments about it? Do any of those videotape pictures from the past come up when you think about it? Good. Now, when we're finished with this video today, I want you to do this again, but I actually want you to spend a little bit of time. I want you to spend 15 or 20 minutes, but I really want you to realize the immense power that your mind has, especially when you are connected to that inner self, to that true power, all right? I want you to really start being conscious about your body space, because a lot of things happen there when you're unconscious that you won't let happen when you're totally conscious about things. Once you start to realize what's happening in your life without your knowledge, first of all, it'll scare the shit out of you. And second of all, it'll push you into change. Think about headaches. Next time you get one, go into your space. Take a long, hard look at it. Dis-ease, disease, dis-ease of the body. There is reasons for that. Next time you get a headache, go in there, look at it. See where it's coming from. Maybe you won't get any results, but you never know. Go through the experience. No expectations. Put that shit aside. It's like when you meditate. If you go in there looking for enlightenment, you're not going to find it. You have no expectations. You release all that. I want you to get the idea that you already know a great deal about your space. I mean, the fact is, you know all there is to know about it, but you don't have to get hung up on it. And when it comes to those things that you know about your space, you handle them naturally without any effort on your part. And guess what? You handle them perfectly. You know exactly and somehow intuitively what to do with these portions of your space that you know about. That's why reading about something, knowing it on an educational level, but never doing it, it's completely different. Magic happens in the doing, in the act of doing. It changes things. You know, whether you're male or female, right? Nobody ever had to tell you how to handle that. Now, people may have thought that you needed lessons, but that only makes them right. It doesn't make you need the lesson. From your space, you look out at the world and you see it. Nobody had to tell you how to do that. There's no human being alive who could tell you how to do that. The same is true of hearing and smell and touch. You knew how to use them all along. Think about this. I love strawberry ice cream. When I do low carb diet, I do the low carb strawberry ice cream. It doesn't make any difference to me. Strawberry ice cream is my favorite. Here's the thing. How do you describe strawberry ice cream to somebody who's never had it before? You can say it's creamy, it's sweet, whatever. But it can't be described so they can actually get the idea of what it's like unless they taste it, unless they're doing it themselves. The same is true here. You know how to do these things. As you move away from the basics, you begin to think that someone taught you how to do the rest. For example, you may think that someone actually taught you how to walk. That's bullshit. Nobody ever taught you how to walk. One day you walked. One day you decided you were going to expand your space to include walking, and then you walked. People who were there just got to observe what was happening. They may have got down there and come to me like a televangelist telling the woman in the wheelchair, come to me. But it wasn't them who did it. It was you. They had no control over it. Now, if you don't accept that, fine. You can go somewhere and you go find someone who can't walk and teach him to walk. But I want you to explain it to him. Tell him how to shift his weight and lift his legs one at a time and how to put the balancing act together. Could you write how to walk in a textbook and sell it? Why hasn't anyone ever done that? Because there's no way. When you take a hard look at walking, you'll see that kids are on their own. It's their own. They're on their own way to expanding their space that includes walking. And when it does, they walk. You can only watch it. You can't speed it up. You can't slow it down. And you can't stop it because he knows where he's going. He is going to walk. He expanded his space to include walking. Are you ready for what I'm going to tell you next? Stop what you're doing, unless it's driving the car or something. Listen carefully. The only things you can ever do in life are those things you expand your space to include. And those things come from your natural river or your source. And if other people hadn't gotten in the way and interfered with you, you would have gone where your space expansion was taking you. And you had a happy grin on your face, right? Remember it all the time. And if your life is screwed up now, it's only because people got in your way and started shouting, you can't do that. And they started putting shit and roadblocks in your way to ensure that you didn't get there. And then they started giving you instructions about how you should be doing and what you need to be doing with your life. How many of you have experienced that in your life? You know, they say if you want to become a millionaire, you talk to a millionaire. You don't go talk to a bum on the street. Again, in the doing, there's magic. And if you haven't got that smile on your face 90%, 95% of the time, every day, then you're losing this game. You're losing this game of life. And you know why you're losing it? You're losing it because you believe them. And you made a decision, not a choice, a decision to run your life the way they told you to run it. And remember, it's not your fault. It's no one's fault. Sometimes it's society at large. It's just programming from generations and generations back. But now, you can make the decision. You can make those decisions. You weren't an adult then. You were a child. Your subconscious is created under 10 years of age. You're not making adult decisions then. And now, so many of us are screwed up. Because why? It's like we talked about last time. You're rowing against your river. And you're never going to win that. All you can do is try and try and try and try for the rest of your life. That's a little difficult to accept. I get it. And since I want you to really get it, let's keep going. I'm going to give you an example. Think about kids. When you look, you're going to remember that you were there once. We all were. Some of us are still partly there. You can always, you can't help getting older, but you never have to get old. That childlike wonder and amazement that life is full of possibilities. Everything can happen for me. We have that when we're children, and then it's slowly beaten out of us. We were all kids once, But most of us act like we weren't. The kids are amazing because they're uncluttered with all the do's and don'ts when they start out. Even you can see that, I'm sure. It's one of the rare events in the world that you see just like it is. And the reason is that before their lives get tampered with, kids are riding high on their natural rivers. Everything is fine. It's before all of the crap of life and everyone else's opinion and wants and needs and desires screw them up. I want you to understand absolutely that kids know where they're going with their lives. If people would just create a safe space around them for them to explore, and then they'll start expanding their own space. That's what a parent needs to do. That's what a real good teacher needs to do. They know what they need to know about them. And believe me, it would be absolutely unbelievably incredible if you could see what kids can do when they don't run into adults who instruct them what they can't do and why that's not for them and that's for other people and that they bullshit. But when kids hear you can't or you shouldn't often enough, they begin to believe it. They begin to adopt that. They begin to change their act to fit that belief. They begin to assume that the values of the people who incessantly chant rules into their ears, they believe those people are telling the truth. Sometimes, of course, those people believe they're telling the truth, but it's always their truth. They're not telling yours, because how could they know it? The acts start at a very early age. And why? Because kids are taught that they should be actors. When you're little, everything is new. Everything is amazing. You go to school, they line you up in desks. They put you with each other. You're supposed to be alike, act alike, not talk, do this, do that. When you look, you'll see nobody really in life is a good actor. The people that you think are charismatic and are self-confident, those people aren't acting. They really are that way because they're okay with themselves. That's the big difference between self-confidence, which you can fake, or you can be an asshole who has no, doesn't understand himself at all, but you can still be self-confident. A lot of people have an overabundance of self-confidence with nothing to back it up. The people that you see that you're really attracted to magnetically, that walk into a room and light it up, those are the people that know who they are. They understand and love all the parts of them, not just the parts people see, but all of the parts. They've let go of the crap that no longer suits them, that no longer helps their life in any credible way. The people that we say, oh, they're good actors, they're not acting. Remember, they just are. Now, they have the ability to climb into the shoes of whatever role and just live there. They ride the river. And they're not acting. It's life, the river of life, and they're having a ball. That's why we're so mesmerized by those dynamic people. No human being can try to do anything. You either do it or you don't do it. We're in a really precarious situation right now, especially, we get trophies for just participating. Everything is cancel culture, and I get some of it, of course. But now everyone is offended by everything. And there's always excuses and the reasons why you couldn't. What? The kid tries to walk, right? He's either walking for a few steps or he's on his ass, and you can't try to swim. You're either swimming or you're drowning, right? There's no in between there. Can you pick up a 400-pound weight right now? Well, what you call trying is actually called not picking it up, right? You have a remarkable ability which you never acknowledged before, and that is to look at a situation and know whether you can do it. And I mean really know the answer for you. And all I'm saying is that if you can see that you can do it, go ahead and do it. You get the knack of it because you know you can. And if you look ahead and see that you can't, don't waste your time trying right now. The problem with the world that fractures is that people waste their lives trying. The trouble with the word is that it has told you by sticking you in a particular kind of vice and clamping you in that this is what you will try to do with your life. And you're trying to act that out. And the world even has its standard formula for you. It's called have, do, be. The world starts out by telling you, here are the acceptable things for you to aspire to. Pick one. So you do. After all, you have no choice in the matter, only a decision. And then the games start. If you think you want to be a ballerina, you must first have all the gear, pointed shoes and the tutu. You must have an instructor, and you must do all the things she tells you to do. And if you try real hard, someday you might get to be a ballerina. Now, if you think you want to be an engineer, well, you have to have all the textbooks and you have to have the slide ruler and you must enroll in college and you do everything the professor tells you to do. And then if you try, you might get to be an engineer. The saddest commentary of all is that people who follow the system, and that's most people, they end up rowing like hell against the natural river for their lifetime, trying to stay even. And then they go down, being dead right about the way they played their lives, about the way they ran their games. Now look at life and understand that not one good ballerina or engineer or accountant or whatever is made by the have, do, be system. Not at all. You either are or you aren't, or you end up trying. Parents should simply provide a safe space for their kids to look and know who and what they are. Then let them do, and they'll quite naturally have. Schools should be created with the sole purpose of having people look at their lives, find their natural river, and climb aboard their inner tube. The only problem with the world's have, do, be system is that it's ass backwards. You can only be what you already are, and you are so many things. You can have an infinite number of games going all at once, all of them constructed so that you're riding your natural river and ending up winning every single game. But you can't try to win any of them. Because if you're trying to play the rightness game, the reasonable game, which we talked about in the last 2 episodes, your problem is that you're rowing so hard against the river that you can't even entertain the notion of getting into another game. So you're stuck in the wrong game and you don't have the energy at the end of the day to look for another one. That's where people get complacent with misery, complacent with bad things in their life, because at least then it's different. It's the same. You know, it's something that it's when someone is miserable, you see these people that are, you know, they feed off each other, like husband and wife. They're miserable and they're negative all the time. Sometimes that is more comfortable than change. Change is terrifying, but you know, at least suffering, that's something you're used to. It's almost, the feeling of it becomes comforting, and that is such a terrifying. It's a terrifying thing, right? So if you're in the rightness game right now, your problem is that you're rowing so hard, you just can't. You can't get out of that. So look at your life from the standpoint of what I've told you, that you can only be what you already are. Because when you are, you will then do all the things those people do and will have everything they have in that order. And I'm sorry if you don't like it, but that's the way it is. And before you jump to the conclusion that Norman Vincent Peale was right, talking about positive thinking is only part of it, and it's a very small part. Just thinking positive is not going to do a damn thing if that's all you're doing. You look ahead and you know that you can do it or you can't. Can you get up out of your chair and walk out the door? When you look at that, if you declare to yourself that I can, then at that point you've already done it. Your mind has checked that off as okay. And you can start to entertain the notion of what it is you're going to do after you're out the door. The only thing between you and actually being out the door is space and time. You're out the door, and you will know intuitively if anything gets in your way. And then when you're conscious about where you're going, you will have a choice about whether you want to be derailed by something that's in your way. If you're on your way out the door and you notice that the TV is on and you get to see very clearly that the program represents a derail to your purpose of going out the door, then you have the choice about whether to stop and watch the program, keep going, turn around, quit, whatever. And whatever it is that you choose, you are responsible for it. Can you go to Las Vegas and lose $5,000 for me? Now, if you say to yourself, you're a fool, but to answer your question, yes, I can do that, then consider it done. The minute you look ahead and see what's so for you, you've already lost the $5,000. It's already gone. You can begin to plan what you'll do after you leave Caesar's palace. The only thing between you and actually getting rid of the money is space and time. And if I meet you in Pittsburgh and try to derail you to Portugal for a fun week in the sun, you know I'm getting in your way of losing my $5,000. You have a choice: Vegas or Portugal? Or will you pull the Golden Gate River Diver Act? What is it that you choose? But choose you must. Someone calls you on the phone and tells you that your child has fallen off a skateboard and his head is bleeding and you better get there. You look ahead and you know you're there and nothing gets in your way. You're already helping that kid, period. Now take the time necessary to look at your life. Look at the things you know you can do and see that the actual process of doing them is effortless. Getting them done requires nothing but time and space. Take some time. Run those pictures on your videotape playback machine you've got up there in your head. When you look and know, you're already there, wherever there is for you. And Dr. Peel is slightly off course. You can't grit your teeth, put in all the positive thinking signs and try to get there. You are either there or you're not. And now I've got you. Question: can you go to Las Vegas and double my $5,000? What? You say you'll try? Forget it. Look ahead and know what you're going to do. Don't try your act out on me. I know when you're acting. Now, what the hell is it that you're going to do? What I'm getting at is not to punish you, because what happens when you punish yourself? It's the same thing as making yourself wrong. What I want you to look at, and I want you to clearly see, is whether or not you can go to Las Vegas and double my $5,000. Now, if you look at it and say, no, I can't, that's totally okay with me. You saved me $5,000 and you saved all that time you would have spent trying and then felt guilty about it when you ended up losing. Just be at truth with yourself and quit trying to do things. You will only end up doing it or not doing it. Trying is something that happens on the way, and it doesn't relate at all to results or to winning games. Look at trying, and if it doesn't work for you, dump it from your act. Just forget it. Don't pack it in your toolbox anymore. Leave it back there in your past. You're now orientated towards the present and the future, so why choose to use it again? Look ahead and know, and then do it. Or look ahead and know, and then don't get into that game. But don't try, because try is bullshit. Try is halfway. Try. The truth is you can't try. Take a look at your river, your natural river. What are you? Stop playing games with yourself. Play with others to win. And I want you to admit the truth that you can't try. Where's your river going? Are you riding with it? Or are you rowing against it? Are you a carpenter? Are you a business lady? Are you a house husband or housewife? Who and what are you? Don't you see there's no effort if you're riding with the river? Here's a beautiful example. You wake up one morning and man, you're sick. I mean, you got a temperature, you've thrown up all night and you're just sick. And I acknowledge it, you're ill. But what I want to talk about is getting well. You've got a choice, get well or die with your sickness. Now, if you choose to get well, your lifetime of adult instructions tells you to go to a doctor. Pronto. So you do. And now you're in his office. Let's assume that he takes the point of view that there's nothing wrong with you. I mean, he's done all the tests. looked at all your parts, listened to you and what's going on with every part of you and every talent that he has. When he tells you, I can't find anything wrong with you, go back to work. Now, if you're unconscious, you immediately proceed to cancel his vote. You say he's incompetent, you dump him, and you call another doctor. What's wrong with me? I've got to be right. Damn it, I'm sick. The fact is that you are both. You are, in fact, sick, but you're getting well. You know that, but you never looked at it that way. A doctor gets in the way only to observe that you're getting well or that you're dying. And the doctors in the world who know what's going on with human beings know that there's nothing they can do to change the choice that you've already made. So the smart ones don't tell you that you're not sick, which again, what does that mean? They're telling you that you're wrong, but they give you a placebo. Do you realize how many placebos are prescribed by doctors of the world each year? Do you understand how many blind tests for new medications are done with part of the group being given a placebo? And do you know how many of those people feel they're being healed? It's ridiculous, the amount. It's so ridiculous. The truthful doctors who tell you they can't find anything aren't going to be financially successful. They don't get to make, $1 million a year and drive their BMW. They only get to be wrong and to lose unconscious patients in the process. And the rightness doctors who are stuck in the act of doctor just agree with you and they prescribe something. So you think he's earned his money. The visit to his office cost you $500 and the prescription costs you more. And for all that money, you get the honor of being right. And you do. Right? I'm going to introduce you to two of the most fascinating, successful game players I have ever seen. They prove that knowing where you're going is all you need to do to get there. I want you to meet someone we'll just call Don. Don is a fantastic human being. Now, as I look at him, what I see is that no one ever had the time to tell him that he couldn't do things. He was born in the era of the Depression. He was a Depression kid. And at that time, what was the name of the game? It was survival. Survival. How are we going to eat tomorrow? How are we going to pay the rent? How are we going to keep a roof over our heads into the future? Well, as a result, Don was on his own. And the things he can do would blow your mind. He can get anything fixed. I mean anything. He can take a look and tell you how to build a cabinet, a pool table. He can wire a building, fix a TV, soup up a car, create a guitar from nothing but wires and strings, and on and on and on. There is nothing that he cannot do, and he knows it. So one day I asked him, what is it with you that lets you get into anything, on earth and you come out understanding it? Now his reply was amazing and incredible. I don't know. I just head into things to find out what's going on in there, and in the end, I find out what's going on. Look at that. He never said, I can't. He just headed into things with the knowledge that he was going to find out what was going on, and he found out, always. The last time I saw him, he was ready to tear down a broken microwave oven, which he'd never seen before, to find out what was going on in there. And I know that he found out what was going on in the oven, and he fixed it, and it works. I would go and buy a new microwave oven. Get ready for this. If I were in a car accident, and ended up on the side of the road in a life or death situation where an operation was immediately necessary, I would want Don to accompany any doctor in the world who could be brought to my rescue. And the reason is that he already knows that he's going to go in and find out what's wrong with me. Just like he tears down a clock or a microwave oven. By contrast, most doctors of the world are practicing, because that's what their certificate says. They practice. Now, you can trust your life to someone who's practicing. I want to be with someone who knows, and who knows to find out what's going on with me and fix it. Now, Don never went beyond, I think, 8th grade, 8th or 9th grade. He doesn't know what the hell's going on with the New York Stock Exchange. He doesn't know what Harvard stands for. He doesn't even know where it is. He just finds out what's going on with things, and he fixes it. That's all. Most of the doctors in the world follow the have, do, be system. They just acted out all the instructions that their parents or teachers or the world told them to act out, and they're stuck in those acts. As I said before, they're practicing by their own admission. It's even printed on their wall. Look at that next time you go into a doctor's office. Take a hard look at your doctor. Understand that when one is making, $1 million, $5 million a year in practice, it soon becomes okay to practice. No shit. If that isn't okay, what is? I mean, it's financially successful, beyond what most people can ever imagine. And those financially successful doctors of the world see very clearly that there's nothing more or nothing less that the guy who happens to get in the way of you going where you're going. 95% of the time they see people. They can't really fix anything anyway. Then they come to realize that the greatest part of their day consists of a word game, followed by the prescriptions that they write. Get the notion that 95% of the words they write are nothing more than what you want to hear. If you want to get to someone who can really get into you and find out what's going on with your system, go to Don or any doctor who knows what's going on with you. He's flowing with his natural river. He's not playing a game. He'll fix it. He's going to go in, he's going to find out what's wrong, and he's going to fix it. There's no doubt about it. Too many people are acting out games. Now, if you choose to play with a practitioner who will undoubtedly agree with you, you can go to a doctor who's rowing against his river. Or you can create a good doctor. You'll know a good doctor when you see him. First of all, he won't lie to you. He won't placate you, just blow smoke up your ass. But he's not going to take any BS from you either. Here's an important point to remember. When you get sick, get the idea that the first person to ask about it is you. Why did you do that to yourself? What's going on with you? Look and know if you need a doctor. Experience what happens the next time you look at a headache or a cold or some sort of pain in your body. The point I want you to get from these examples is simply this. You're already on your way somewhere. No, I can never know where that is because you aren't me, but you can know. You do know. You just never admit it to yourself. So admit it to yourself and accept it. Take responsibility for it. And when you're on your way somewhere, it doesn't matter where it is. It's the only place you can get. To be sure, someone can get in your way and derail you, but only if you're unconscious. When you're conscious, you haven't been derailed. You've chosen to go that way, and you're responsible for those actions. When you're derailed, someone did it to you. The derailer did it to you. You poor, poor derailee. Let me share another example with you to validate what I've said about knowing where you're going. I have an agent that I worked with for years. We'll call him Irv. Irv's a genius, and he's a multimillionaire. He came from Romania, maybe 1955, 1960. He had about $2,000 to his name, right? Even that, it sounds like a lot, but back then, but to move all the way across the world with nothing else in the world, he didn't know anybody. He didn't know anything about LA, and he'd been exposed to such glamour industries like, importing bongo drums and buying broken gift shop items and reselling them and all kinds of crap, right? He even made a bid on a ship that went down in the ocean. Now that ship stuck out in the water somewhere. But anyway, he was originally from Hungary, somewhere. He refused to get stuck in that act, though, like his dad and his brothers. And, over there working, his dad was a butcher, his brother was a butcher. And they all played the butcher act. He just kept choosing freely because in his mind, he was already a millionaire. And what he is, because that's where he's going with no effort at all. Because he didn't try. He was already there. I don't know how to say this to make you understand it any easier. But my friends, these are literally the secrets of life. I want you to look very carefully and really get just one thing. Either my buddy Don or my old agent Irving, they ever followed the have, do, be system. They never really heard the world when it said they shouldn't or couldn't do things. They never had the time to stop and try to accumulate all the things that they needed to have in order to be an expert to get into that chosen game that they wanted to get into. Get the idea that keeping up with the Joneses is just that, trying to row like hell to stay even. And it never works. Just staying even is the absolute best you can do. The worst you can do is upset your canoe, your life, into that river. Take Irv, the agent. I met a number of people who knew him back in the day, back when he didn't have 2 cents, when he first got to LA, couldn't pay his rent. You know, believe me when I tell you that each of them knew that his train was going to hit. And each of them knew, and they will tell you now, that he was going to be a millionaire, even though it couldn't have been obvious at the time. And even now, they recall that he didn't make many of them wrong as he rolled onward and upward. The business community remembered him. Waitresses remembered him. His employees remembered him. Old Irving was charismatic. Old Irving had that magic that you see. Why? Because he was okay with himself, all parts of himself. He knew where he was going. Why upset anyone along the way? He didn't have to argue. He didn't have to fight. He didn't have to beat someone for him to win. He got all the cheese in the game without making anyone else wrong. Take Don. He never had the money to go out and buy all the tools one needs to fix things. He didn't have, crosscut saws and, hammers and screwdrivers and electric screwdrivers and all this crap. But the point is, he didn't follow that system, the have, do, be system. He did it backwards. He was, then he did, then he got. And he didn't have to try. He didn't have to. He was already there. How do you compare with Don Irving? Take a careful look at your life and know if you're trying, if the very process of living every day is an effort, then it's wrong. You're doing it wrong. You're not going to get there from here. Trying is what makes those statistics we see every day about the incredible number of people who are not satisfied with their lives, with their work, with their lovers, with their friends, with their whatever, on and on and on. They keep trying to stay even, to row against their natural river. Let's take a moment to tie a number of phenomena together and look at the mechanism of what's going on. Remember the function of your mind. The only reason it exists is to keep you right, to make you survive. And to do that, it serves up all those pictures from the past, which it thinks relate to your survival in your current situation. And then recall that I said you can only be what you already are. Fine. Now let's move into a situation and examine it. You're sitting in an important meeting, or maybe in a classroom or something, and you discover that you're sleepy. But it would be wrong for you to go to sleep there, so you can't do that. And you end up being frustrated. What happened? Simple. Your mind served up the pictures of frustration as a survival mechanism that makes it okay for you to be sleepy. Now, that was when you were unconscious. When you're conscious about your life, what'll happen is completely different. You notice that you're sleepy. You acknowledge it, you accept it, and you take responsibility for choosing to be sleepy. And you look ahead and know that you'll get some sleep. You're already asleep. Next, you have a conscious choice to make, to sleep now or to delay it. You find a number of things happening with you when you get to the place I have just described. First, you'll notice that it's totally all right for you to have chosen to be sleepy. No judgment. And the reason that it's totally all right is that it's there. It's unchangeable. It's in the past. And second, because you look ahead and know that you will, in fact, get sleep. It's totally okay for you to choose not to sleep now, but you will get sleep. It's amazing how awake you can be when you choose not to sleep. And the most important thing to note is that you get to skip the frustration. You get off your mind from serving it up those pictures because you know the frustration doesn't serve your purpose and it doesn't make you survive either. There's another very important point to be aware of. The fact that you are at source. That is, you created the sleepiness. No one did it to you. The one thing you have to do is take responsibility for you. That's where your personal power comes into play. Nothing did it to you. No one did it to you. Now, when you're unconscious, you thought you sort of discovered these things that were going on with you. Not so. You created them, and you're responsible for them. Look at mornings when you wake up. You always thought that you found out how much energy you have each day. No way. You're the source of the energy or the lack of it. You chose to have an abundance of it or none, and you're responsible for what you choose. And when you reach the condition in life of having the fact be okay with you, no matter what you choose, you're going to find out it's easy as hell and effortless to deal with. The same is true of other events you bring into your life. Look at those times when you got up late for work. The alarm didn't go off, so you blamed the clock. You blamed your wife. The truth is you chose not to wake up. You're the one that made the decision to stay up late. You're the decision. You're responsible because you can choose to wake up when you want to the exact minute. But you know that. So why do you play these games with yourself? What do you get out of trying? Why do you lie about it to yourself? There's a good phrase to summarize one of the key points of this video, and it is that you can't have what you have to have. You can't have what you have to have. Take money. That's 80% of the people. That's the one thing they think they're missing that's going to just make them deliriously happy. If you've made a decision that you have to have a lot of money in order to survive, you're not going to get there. If you're gritting your teeth every day, trying to do all the necessary things to get a lot of money, you're playing a game with yourself that you're not going to win. The place you have to get to is acceptance of the fact that you haven't got a lot of money now, that you're responsible for the lack of it. Next, it has to be totally okay with you because it's in the past. Then, and only then, do you get a choice. Do you choose to have money in the future? If you do, you'll get there without trying. That is, if you look ahead and know that you're there, the process of actually getting there is effortless. And the only thing between you and getting there, what are they? Time and space. Sure, you'll have choices to make on the way, lots of them, and you'll undoubtedly make some mistakes as you progress, but you'll get there. You know where you're going. Most people have no destination. How do you ever imagine you'll get somewhere without knowing where it is that you're going? It's like getting in the car without turning on the GPS and driving to somewhere you've never been in another state and just expecting to get there magically. It doesn't happen. What happens is when you're fully responsible for any mistakes you've made, they clean up. They clean up fast. You're never stuck in the losing game of trying to edit your videotape, stuck in the past, worried about would have, could have, should have, all the shit that's behind you because you're looking ahead. You've learned from the experience of watching carefully as the shots were made. Always have the opportunity to go back and just stand by and look if you need to. And you've given up being right in the process. Look, if you look ahead and know that you can't do something or that you aren't something, but then you decide that for whatever reason, you really should try to do it, be it, get there, you're putting on an act and rowing against the river. And when you're trying, you aren't going to get there. If you have an enormous amount of stamina and staying power, the best you'll ever do is stay even. But the minute you relax slightly and begin to look at your life, how it really is, not through the lens of your past and not through how you wish it was or how the people around you wish it was. As soon as you start looking at your life, as soon as you start looking at the shore of you're in that river and you look at the shore, you lose ground. You can't stay even anymore. The final point I want to make in this video, and this is a deep one, my friends, listen to this again and again, because this information compounds, changes. It allows you to see yourself, your life, the people around you, your career in a completely different light. I want to communicate on this, the truth about, there's an old piece of folklore that I used to hear all the time that still holds some real meaning. You know, it's the notion that you get to do what you want to do on your birthday. Remember that? When you were a little kid, it's your special day. What do you want to do? Whatever you want to do on your birthday, once a year, right? Now, when I look back and I see myself, I'm dumping my act on my birthday. It has real meaning for me. I threw the act aside. Whatever I wanted to do, I could do. Whatever I wanted to eat, I could eat. Whatever I wanted to do for a party, I could do. Whatever it was, once a year, you could do it, right? Well, it's an exhilarating feeling, and it's easy to do, that feeling, the exhilaration. You're creating that for yourself, right? You gave yourself that good day. Well, you can go through the experience of validating what I'm telling you about your life, and every day will be your birthday. Every day will be like that. So you're probably wondering, how can I know when I'm really there versus making a decision? How do I know where my river is truly heading? You'll find out on Wednesday, because I'm going to be back with part 4 of this video series. Don't try to be here, my friends. Be here on Wednesday, because you've got to be, at this point, sick and tired of trying. It doesn't work. So go ahead and make a date with me for Wednesday, and we'll do this, all right? If you have not joined our Facebook group, well, why not? We're a fantastic community of like-minded people. We're all banded together, and we're empowering and teaching people how, when you empower yourself, when you connect to yourself, you are able to change. And then what happens? Everything in the outer world changes too. We would love to have you. It's absolutely free. It's facebook.com/groups/students of self-empowerment. It's facebook.com/groups/students of self-empowerment. Also, if you have not joined our YouTube channel, now is the time to subscribe, because we have over 200 videos. You'll never miss anything if you're a subscriber, because not all of them are posted in our community, and there are different playlists and for whatever it is that you're going through. So make sure that you subscribe. It's youtube.com/Taylor Web Television. youtube.com/Taylor Web Television. Also, if you need some assistance in your life with where you are and you're interested in my mindset coaching program, this program will change your life. I promise you. You will see things differently than you ever knew possible. I've been doing this for years, and I have clients that completely different people. So if you'd like some more information about my mindset coaching program, drop me an email at brentwebb2003@gmail.com, or go right here. Let me find it. You can go to here, brentwebb.info/merch. And on that, on my website, you will see all the different courses, coaching programs that we offer, ebooks, that sort of thing. But there's a lot of information on my mindset coaching program. We do I do 3 sessions of 3 groups of students 3 times a year. We have 10 people in each group. So our summer session is about to start next week. We have 8 spots taken care of. We have 2 open. If you're interested, go take a look, brentwebb.info/merch, or you can also go to brentwebb.info/coaching, brentwebb.info/coaching. And that'll give you all the information you need. Stop waiting. You've put off your life long enough. It is time. It's time to take control and get behind the driver's seat and make those permanent, positive changes that will transform your life and the life of everyone around you. That is how we change the world. That is how we truly achieve peace in our time. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back again on Wednesday with part 4 of this video series, Brainwashed. This has been a lot of fun. And I'm telling you, if you watch these, you listen to them, you pay close attention, and you start implementing these pieces of information into your life, stand back. Everything changes. So I want to thank you for joining me today. Go out today and enjoy yourself, no matter where you are in the world. Take some time to go out in nature. Take some time to commune with the trees and play with your dog. Whatever it is, take some time for you, because you deserve it. You really do. So don't worry. Be happy and feel good. I will see you Wednesday.